Pence claimed Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg took 2 months of, quote, maternity leave during the nationwide airline crisis, which makes Pete the only person in human history to have a child, and everyone else gets postpartum depression.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the joke. Whoopi Goldberg and The View hosts were talking about this joke that Mike Pence told at the expense of Pete Buttigieg about maternity leave, apparently. The host of The View weren't very happy about that joke, but let's listen to what happened right after she retold that joke in the audience response.
And everyone else gets postpartum depression.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
Again, so apparently they didn't hear the offensive part, because the humorous part was everyone else gets postpartum depression. He's the first person to ever go on leave, and everyone else, or at least gets, everyone else he has a child, and then everyone else gets postpartum depression. They did respond to it though, and it's become a bit of a firestorm around. As a matter of fact, Pete Buttigieg himself was asked about it, and he had this to say.
Does Mike Pence owe you an apology?
I'll let others speak to that. It's a strange thing to me because last time I saw him, he asked me about my kids like a normal person would. And I guess, at a political event in white tie, it's a little different. But again, there's not a lot of time for me to focus on the Washington game because we have real work to do here.
The normal political answer, I'm not gonna answer whether or not he owes me an apology. I'm not gonna answer whether or not I'm mad about this. It's okay. I wish there was a little bit more of humans allowed to be in politics, allowed to show themselves. In this case, say, yeah, I'm mad about that. I'm offended. You can, but he can't. His husband, Chasten Buttigieg, also tweeted this out, and this is when it gets more serious. He says, an honest question for you, Mike Pence. After your attempted joke this weekend, if your grandchild was born prematurely and placed on a ventilator at 2 months old, their tiny fingers wrapped around yours as the monitors beep in the background, where would you be? Again, talking about that paternity leave that they took to take care of their new children. So there's that part, and then also the White House, the administration is now demanding an apology from Pence. I haven't heard any of that yet. But how about that joke, Waz? Where do you land? Because I think this could be a little bit of a debate. I saw you chuckling, bro.
I mean, I laughed in the silly nature of it. Obviously, he's making a gay joke. He's being homophobic, and also he's dismissing just the notion of postpartum depression. So, he's dismissing the notion of what women go through after giving birth. I laugh because it's obvious that Pence, this is him doing his Donald Trump impression, right? He spent obviously a lot of time with Trump. He had a first class ticket seat ride to Trump's ascent and his tenure in the White House. And at every step of the way, this is the kind of nastiness that Trump sort of trafficked in. So to me, this is just, I laugh because this is Mike Pence trying to be the class bully, class clown stuff that he thinks Donald Trump was very successful at and helped him achieve his success within the Republican Party and just within American politics at large.
You'll see how many people will continue to make this type of shift as they see Trump-like folks get more and more success. Look at these folks in the House that have, twisted Kevin McCarthy's arm behind his back. The Matt Gaetzes and Marjorie Taylor Greenes and Lauren Boeberts of the world. They've got some power now because they're acting like Trump, and they're like, well, I got to give them a little bit of this. It's the shift of the Republican political leadership group, and they're looking to go that direction. Now,
the bigger question for me, JR, sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm good.
Why in the hell is Mike Pence running for president? Who wants this guy? Who is he? What constituency is Mike Pence serving anywhere? Even in his own party, he has no constituency. What is this guy doing?
It's the last gasp of that group of very tight, buttoned up Republicans that are like, this is the established way we do it. But the policies are still the same. Look at the look on his face. That's the look of the buttoned up Republican Party, and the look at Trump next to him. It's shifted everything of what he thinks the voting bloc would be. Now, you did point out the homophobic nature of the joke. And you know what? You don't have to defend yourself too hard, because I laughed too, because that's what I heard was paternity leave. And so what I thought the best part of the joke was him saying, yo, everyone else has this depression over the travel problems, again, attributing it to the transportation secretary, but then he's the one hanging out at home. If they would have gone in that direction, maybe they could have a little bit more to stand on, because that's a standard joke about us having the problems when he's off hanging out doing nothing. They could claim even though he's not. Whoopi did point that out though during this discussion that got a little bit more, I guess, confrontational.
People are taking issue with Pence using the term maternity leave and making light of postpartum depression. I will point out that this joke wasn't funny when Tucker Carlson did it. It wasn't funny when Lauren Boebert did it. It's just not funny. It's just not a funny joke. I'm mad at you because you weren't smart enough to think of a new joke. That's why I'm outraged. Because it was sloppy and very lazy to use a thrice used bad joke again.
I agree, especially with the homophobic part, because he said maternity leave. Again, and this goes back to the same, third grade jokes that many of these conservatives will do. But Alyssa Farrar Griffin is also on the panel. And I'm curious what you think about this. Last clip here from the back and forth, because she pushed back a little. Not necessarily talking about how the joke is inoffensive, but about how the response maybe could have been.
I want us to be careful of I don't want us to turn into the snowflakes that we criticize. We're it's a joke. It's a poor joke.
No. Hold up. Mm-hmm. Those guys are snowflakes.
No, I know. I think we need to
but the point is, it's a joke that was bad 4 other times. It didn't land for any. It didn't work for anybody. It's a terrible joke, and that's why I say, for me, that's lazy because he does know better. He does know what the correct words are.
And that is the hook. I get it, but again, if you go with just the standard, call it a paternity leave because that's what it was, and you may be able to skirt by without this type of explosion happening. And Alyssa there thinks, as long as you don't get too offended, they won't have anything to stand on.
Yeah, I don't know about the not getting offended part. I think what that speaks to me, what speaks to me about that exchange is I don't necessarily think we need to throw our protectiveness over Pete Buttigieg. I just don't think he's part of some marginalized group. This guy is very wealthy. He's a very powerful, connected individual. And so, yeah, I would never see a need to run to that dude's defense. However, of course, it's easy to recognize that Mike Pence's joke is in poor taste. I think both things can absolutely be true.
And I think it's also pretty obvious Mike Pence didn't write or think of that joke.
Nah, there's no way. There's no way Mike Pence is writing his own material at this point. No
because
shot.
The hook at the end actually had a jokey nature to it, and that's nothing Mike Pence is about. We'll see if he approaches the stage next time with more.